I got soul, I got grace. Had to throw away the self-hate. Staring all my demons in the face. Moving on divine time, a nigga never late. Follow my fate. Had to learn life ain't a race. Slow down, slow down. I'm trusting the process of my pace. I call upon my ancestors, cause I need you. We healing every night and day, and they see it. Yeah, now the sky raining blessings down, I'm receiving. Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow. Ooh, 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 yeah. Focus on the present moment. In the sunshine, glowing. All of my energy potent. All of my energy flowing. Shedding my light on the darkness. Sacred the path that I'm walking. I'm back in my bag and they know it. From conception I knew I was chosen. I'm destined for greatness, but had to let go of entitlement. Used to be so impatient, dwelling on why these labels ain't signing me. Watching everyone else, and my head drawing up these comparisons. Neglecting my health, the road to them riches was blinding me. Open your eyes, taking the light. Stressing too much gon' lead to your demise. Made up my mind to sacrifice everything keeping me from higher heights. It's time to let it go, so I can spread my wings. Give the divine control to unlock my ultralight beams. I got soul, I got grace. Had to throw away the self-hate. Staring all my demons in the face. Moving on divine time, a nigga never late. Follow my fate. Had to learn life ain't a race. Slow down, slow down. I'm trusting the process of my pace. I call upon my ancestors, cause I need you. We healing every night and day, and they see it. Yeah, and the sky raining blessings down, and receiving. Oh wow, oh wow.
That enters within me, infinite knowledge ascending. Had to be mindful with magic. I spell with the thoughts I imagine. Moving with faith, look in my eyes. It's a stargate, infinite space and time. Wake the mind, shake the pride, embrace the tribe. You can't compare a growth to ascension. We all learning different, no path to be driven. Experiences all side of the prism. Elohim, I am him, I have risen from the depths of the ego, a sinner. Constellations show me that there's more to life. Communication, charging up blue appetite. Remember the reason I became an artist. The love that it brought to my life had to blossom. I'm going through changes, the love of a father. Heart light as feathers, no feeling is better. Flow in my statement, miss clouds of forever. Love every measure, these bars never let up. This is a note and a promise to always stay true no matter what I accomplish.
I got soul, I got grace. Had to throw away the self-hate. Staring all my demons in the face. Moving on divine time, a nigga never late. Follow my fate. Had to learn life ain't a race. Slow down, slow down. I'm trusting the process of my pace. I call upon my ancestors, cause I need you. We healing every night and day, and they see it. Yeah, now the sky raining blessings down, I'm receiving. Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow. Ooh, 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 yeah. Ooh, 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 yeah.
All right. Peace and chaos, family. We're back. Sorry for the technical difficulties. There was something going on with my sound. I might have to do something, switch up my sound a little bit, but we're back. It's good to be back. I was gone for a while on YouTube and Patreon. So this will be the first time y'all have heard me since the Philosophical Minds interview. And make sure you go follow that brother, Skylar. I think his name's Skylar on Philosophical Minds, his channel, and listen to the interview that we had. Is very fire. If not, join Patreon to hear it. I don't know if he loaded to his Patreon or his YouTube, but he does have a fire YouTube, Philosophical Minds. And shout out to Free Soul. Free Soul is the artist that you just heard. That song was called The Journey, featuring Aura the Prophet. It's from the album When the Flowers Bloom. Free Soul is spelled FR33. Free Soul. So shout out to everyone. Welcome back to the Spiritual Shade Room, home to the Nagaverse Network, Camophis Academy, and the Truth Mafia Network. Here at the Spiritual Shade Room, what we're trying to do is unlock the genetic codes within the spirit. We need to know how messed up this holographic prison is and what it does to our psyche, to our subtle bodies. And it's tremendous to learn how we can project ourselves out of the 3D trap. That's why this Maitreyic physics video and the black light science has to be covered so we can get proper spiritual food to nourish the divine appetite of our soul's intelligence. But first of all, before I start things, I want to dedicate today's lecture to a pillar in the Columbia, South Carolina community where I'm from. This is a woman who started the Down South lecture circuit of Bobby Hemmett, Phil Valentine, Laila Africa, and others. Tremendous ancestor here. She's now an ancestor. Her name is Sister Doretha Bull. We interviewed her 2 years ago on Patreon. I'm not sad, but I was completely, struck with amazement that I did not know that she made the transition. But it's funny how the spirit works, because I did a lecture back in November. We did a lecture, and I think it was the lecture on the Israelite history, where all of that Kyrie stuff was going on. And she showed up to the lecture, and I did not recognize her because whatever health ailment she was going through had changed her dramatically within a year's or year and a half's time frame. But everything I was saying when I was lecturing, I was going through my pictures, sitting in front of all of these people in the spiritual shop. And she was correcting me on everything I said. She was like, this and that, because she's the oldest owner of the black owned library, of the first black owned library in the state of South Carolina and in the state of North Carolina. Don't know if I said that right, but she's had the longest tenure of being a black owner, and she established the first black owned, melanated owned libraries from North Carolina to South Carolina. Very important pillar here, and such a beautiful soul. But I didn't recognize her, but the spirit told me to put some money in her pocket. I was paid for doing that lecture, and I made sure I put about $300 in her pocket that day from the interview she did a year and a half, because I didn't see her since the interview. And she was very emotional about that. But the ancestors came to me and said, you better give her that money. And I gave it to Sister Isis. Sister Isis gave it to her. And we all communed at the end of the lecture. And I was so glad to have her sitting on the front row. She is a library within herself. She has so much knowledge. She's like a female Bobby Hemmett. And she made the transition. We're having a spiritual retreat, and we're going to recognize her at the spiritual retreat that we're having July 21st. July 21st through the 23rd. We're setting up, getting ready for a spiritual retreat here in South Carolina. We're going to have all of the information by the end of this week. We're supposed to have it last week, but a lot of things came up. But we're finalizing everything right now, family. So rest in power to Miss Doretha. Okay, so let me explain why we do what we do and why it's important. The reason why we strive to give our fellow Nagas and Fangs and other listeners exclusive content on the hyperlucidal constructs of this artificial reality is because when we do videos like this, we're training the soul for this spiritual war on the adversary, on this archonic realm that we're dealing with. And we have to constantly shake up this realm of perception and causation to implement soul physics and reroute the circuitry to the proper valve of cosmic reception. For instance, didn't we shake up the world with that reptilian myth video? That was one of those classic ones that you had scholarship, you had great information, and it just flowed very well. I was very proud of that video. And don't worry about views. You don't have to worry about that. The views are a illusion of this world's ego. The message in that last video, well, the one before the Tina Turner video, was very powerful, family. And that's something you can show to people so they can get into the meta history to how that reptilian stuff gets misinterpreted. This fake new micro spirituality age of wokeness. And well, when you say wokeness, is more like people's actions displaying that their trauma is so heavy on them that they want you to accept whatever mumbo jumbo that comes out of their mouth and call it truth. That's what wokeness, and well, today's government version of what wokeness is. That's what they changed. That's a whole government experiment with that word. But that's what we have to witness and try to block that out so we can focus, because all of these woke fiends to the demiurge drug is all around us all the time, every day. We're dealing with these people on a regular. And that reptilian myth video was just a start. And I left a lot out of that video. Like, for instance, my theory and opinion on who the quote unquote reptilian is in this world exoterically is celebrities wearing skin suits. I meant to tell you guys that. If there is a reptilian, I would say the reptilian is these people that wear these skin suits. And absolutely, Steve, make sure y'all donate to the channel. There's a donate link in the tab. If you click on the tab on the video, please donate to keep this channel running. It really helps out, and it helps flow with things. The more we can donate, the more I can have time to give you these videos and keep this thing going. Because if not, I have to dedicate my time to, like what Bobby said, I got to keep the lights on. So whatever you donate, that goes towards the light bill, just to keep the lights on. And by the way, if you're new here, sometimes iCloud goes in and out. Don't worry about it. We'll just log right back in. So celebrity skin suits. I'm one of the top people that go into that information. One of the top people that tell frequently on my platforms that there are a group of people wearing the skin of other people, not literally, but there is a company I'm gonna go into. But let me play something. Y'all let me know if the sound is okay, because it had to reset after all of this stuff.
Wait, celebrity skin suits?
Fred Savage?
I'm also Cameron Manheim, Malcolm Jim Warner, Kevin Forsyth, and Metallica drummer Lars Ulrich.
While it was kind of disturbing and a little freakish, Emma peels away a latex mask and bust to reveal the Sophia. Just can't help but wonder what's going on.
Alright, now that had to be CGI. Where's the hair?
No, wait a minute. There is definitely something different about the two of you. Collagen.
See that? This one, you can see this one clear as day. Clear as day. Okay?
Wait, isn't that the same Tyler Perry who literally wears skin suits and acts as other characters?
If you listen to the voice on Tyler Perry speak when he speaks, you will clearly hear Will Smith.
She was so happy to have that. It's very sentimental for me, and we do a lot of shooting down here for a lot of the shows. I've been totally computer generated since like the 90s. We do a lot of shooting down here for a lot of the shows. It's 2019, y'all. Nothing's real.
That's a costume. That's a costume. That's a costume. I don't know how we expect to go to the movies.
Collagen.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is Michael Jackson. Like, how the hell are we going to actually go to the movies? He has his disguise on, you know. So at this point now, I'm tripped out because I'm like,
Michael.
Saw Mike just change and turn into a whole nother person. Like, he was a king of disguises. Like, this nigga could have been standing next to you the whole time. You would not even know it was Mike.
You said Peter Better talked about this in the 80s. Nobody never heard of him. So people have been talking about this thing, and I see everybody is talking about the fires in Canada. That kind of became news to me while I was putting everything together a couple of hours ago. I didn't know about the Canada fires and the smoke in the air up north right now, so I didn't have much on that. I do have some maps that Wendy and others, I think Jorge posted up in there, of what's going on out there. So we want to, send our wishes out to the family that's dealing with all of that. We hope you guys are okay. Hold on, I'm adding people to the stream right now. Once y'all get in the stream, y'all stay in because I can't be coming in and out. But here's a photo of what's happening out there in Toronto and other places. And we believe this is another weather weapon going on. And here in South Carolina, Natalie sent to us that there is an air quality alert, whereas there's Air Quality Action Day. And an Air Quality Action Day means that fine particulate concentrations may approach or exceed unhealthy standards because of wildfires, smoke coming from Western Canada, hazy skies, unhealthy breathing conditions, especially where wildfire smoke is most concentrated. So they're sending things out. You said it's not a coincidence that Canada is on fire during Pride Month. It reminds me of Smokey the Bear. Isn't Smokey the Bear out in Canada or something? Smokey the Bear or something like that. But yeah, family, whole lot going on with that. I'm gonna have to go deeper into that on Patreon. We're not real prepared for that today, but like I said, that's my version of the reptilians. Matter of fact, let me play this video. This guy explains it even more into these metamorphosis masks that people have been wearing since the pandemic.
Artist named Heather Dewey creates 3D printed sculptures of people using DNA that they leave behind on items like cigarette butts, gum, and hair follicles. And part of her goal is to get people to really think about the implications and the future of privacy. So she creates perfectly rendered facial structures.
So let me tell you what's happening. She's collecting DNA and she's remaking DNA from like a candy wrapper that somebody left spit on, excretions on, and she's collecting all of that DNA data, that genetic data, and she's remaking it into faces. And this is probably a process of what they do with the quote unquote reptilian myth that I spoke about. They're wearing the faces of different people,
Faces, human faces, using DNA samples that she finds on the street. The data she collects is then tested for genetic variations that reveal a person's gender, ethnicity, eye color, and even facial structure. She uses the same type of polymerase chain reaction, which is the same process that forensic scientists use to find a match between a suspect, a weapon, and a crime scene. She amplifies specific regions of the genome that are associated with physical characteristics like hair color and facial structure. The amplified DNA is then sequenced to determine the individual's genetic information. The information is then used to create plastic 3D printed models of the person's face that are then showcased in her art installations. What is interesting...
Damn, then she showcases it like a whole art type of gig, like an art display where people come and check out. That's crazy, yo. That's crazy. So your face might be in her little art display at some museum in front of these Illuminati families or something like that. She probably does one for the public and she does another. And they probably will take her technology and advance whatever they use it for. You know, yeah, you said, did I see the Asian woman who turns herself into Kobe? I did. Cosmic Chaos says, so you're saying reptilians are those in mass? That's my whole theory on what the reptilian thing is. I don't really believe in reptoid lizard people. Really, I don't know how people can even put their lips together to say that an alien or a interdimensional being from other dimensions automatically will become something off Earth, which is genetic data of a lizard or something like that. Why would they be something from Earth? It would probably be something that we can't fathom with our mind. Why does it have to be something directly from Earth? That's my question. So people come up with these theories. We debunked it very, very clearly where all of that comes from in that reptilian myth video. But yeah, there's a whole lot going on with that. But also we have to talk about the immortal theory. With the passing of Tina Turner, Beyonce is doing a tour right now, the Renaissance tour. And we spoke about in the Tina Turner video, with 2 days left during the Renaissance World Tour. This is before it, but now I think it's over. But in 2009, Michael Jackson, 2013, Whitney Houston, 2016, Prince, 2018, Aretha Franklin, and 2023 was Tina Turner. Big, prominent, melanated people always die during Beyonce's tours. They're sacrificed, and her mother looks like some type of clone to Tina Turner, and this really bothered people. But let's just say it isn't a clone. Let's just go with other people. They're saying, okay, there is no clone. We have to consider the immortal theory that's gaining momentum into the occult lore of things. So you have this immortal theory. If it's cloning, maybe it's another distinct technology of optogenetics, black box technology, several other forms that they utilize, like somatic cloning, where people can have several bodies of themselves and have these bodies throughout the world, which I'm going to show you some pictures in a second, how that's possible. Or maybe someone possibly, this is a big quote unquote, have these time travel twins. We just have to consider all angles of what's happening. When they show us these lookalikes, most of the time it's called the revelation of the method, which is they're revealing the conspiracy before they call it a conspiracy. And this thing is very, very much prominent in these cryptocratic orders, because all of them want to live forever, whether it's digital immortality or it's 3D immortality. They're into that research, you know? So you said, I never said anything about reptilians being from Earth. My fact is other beings are here from other realms. Possible. You said they are immortal, so why they switch skin suits? Well, I don't know. That's that there could be some wearing skin suits. That could be a lower brass of the Freemasonic pyramid of aristocratic, cryptocratic, plutocratic families that's running this thing. Some people, to have the money that they have, they either get cloned or they get under some type of hypnotism, quantum hypnotism, mesmerism, artificial somnambulism, whereas they become sleepwalkers. They're no longer controlled or controllers of their own willpower. And they make these somnambulists put on skin suits out here, like a Kanye or something like that. But it also could be, what we're talking about with immortal cloning. But there's a lot of lookalikes that you see different people and you wonder. You put that the Kufi hat on, and you start to ponder. Like Tiana Taylor announced she's going to begin working on the Dionne Warwick biopic. She looks just like Dionne Warwick. This could be Immortal theory here. Possibly so. I don't know why I put this fool up here, but he made news last week. He's on the cover of Culture Crisis magazine. He looks like a crisis. He always has this upside down cross on him. But he's definitely a clone. I saw a video of him seen in a civil rights riot. Did anybody see that picture of Lil Uzi Vert, Lucifer, Lil Uzi Vert, same thing. And then the whole Keanu Reeves thing, where he looks like these multiple people. I have a video I can show you on that. Keanu Reeves, Sylvester Stallone, Jay-Z looking like this space-time repairman, Rob Lowe, the elf from Lord of the Rings, looking like different people. Let me play that for you.
Apparently celebrities live forever. Watch this.
Think you are correct. They live multiple lives and get to choose what life they wanted to do. Don't get me wrong, genetics do pass on, but they literally look the same.
Of dudes that look like you. Okay. So they just think that you've been on the earth since you've just been around. There's just different generations. I just wanted to show you just in case.
We're all stardust, baby.
I know, that's it.
You know.
What is my name? Look at this.
Okay, so what do we got?
What do you think?
What is this in the beard? Go ahead.
Look at that guy. That's a French actor, Paul Monet.
Yeah, we have the same foreheadish eyebrow, I think.
But that's the real.
Oh.
No, I kind of see a little bit of it.
Got the eyes.
Yeah, so that's Keanu Reeves. They're showing a lot of him, but it's not just him. It's a lot of different people. So the Immortal theory is in. And with everything going on with Jamie Foxx, let's talk about him for a second. Remember, the last movie he was in was called Day Shift with Snoop Dogg and the other actor. I forgot the name of the other guy. But, Dave Franco is at the top. Dave Franco and Snoop Dogg starred in this film called Day Shift, where they're hunting literal immortals, but they're playing them as vampires. But they had to join this underground secret society, and they hunted immortals for a living. And that's interesting because when Jamie Foxx went in the hospital for whatever he has, we just don't know. There's an article that's coming out now saying that he could be suffering from, he's blind and paralyzed from the jab that came out a couple of days ago. Somebody prominent was saying that Jamie Foxx is now blind, possibly brain dead. We're hearing all of these rumors. But the movie he was filming before he went down, it was a movie called Back in Action. He was filming it with Cameron Diaz. So him and Cameron Diaz, which is a friend of his, quote unquote, is filming this new movie called Back in Action. It's funny because Cameron Diaz hasn't been on stream for a long time. The last time Cameron Diaz and Jamie Foxx was in the same movie is very occult. You got to go back and watch Any Given Sunday. Whereas Cameron Diaz plays as the owner of this NFL football team, called the Miami Sharks. And they have Jamie Foxx in the middle with this circle around him wearing the number 13. That is the number of the Moors and the Sufis that the European feared early in history. They called it a satanic number for a reason. The 13 cycles. But Cameron Diaz was this NFL team's owner. She inherited it from her father. Jamie Foxx plays the starting quarterback. He comes in after the other quarterback gets hurt. His name is Willie Beeman in the movie. Yeah, the 13th disciple is Jesus. Grapevine Morale. And this is a very metaphysical movie because it's interesting because news this year, Al Pacino was the head coach. And Al Pacino, they just said he just got a 23-year-old pregnant. So Al Pacino, 83 years old. 83 equals murder. His girlfriend name is Noor Alfala. Okay, so she's 29. 29-year-old pregnant. Yeah, she's 29 years old. Yeah. So he's still going. And he's the head coach. So he's making headlines at the same time these other two actors in the same movie is making headlines. But it's interesting that it's taking place in Miami because right now the Miami Heat is in the playoffs and there were some sacrifices that I'm going to go into. Yeah, I went into the Akira breakdown. I was talking about how those kids, they use kids. There's a program called Project Chrononauts where they send kids back in time. Even the Atlanta child murders with those black kids, when they came back and they found the black kids, they were old, but they were still children. So Akira was talking about sending children through a time warp portal, and Barron Trump was a part of that program. But I broke that down. You guys need to get on my Patreon and listen to those videos that I did with Tommy Truthful, Donut, and 101, and our brother Mario. We went into that a little bit. They were amazed. They was like, damn, that's what that movie was about? Maybe we need to do a full breakdown. We'll do a full Akira breakdown. Okay, Don J. Core says, could Miami Sharks in the movie and the Canadian Fires relate to the Miami Heat in the NBA championship? Could be. Could be. The Miami Heat, now you have these fires in Canada. And the main player or the second player of the Denver Nuggets, Jamal Murray, is from Canada. The second star wears 27. Ritual equals 27. And also, we got to talk about some other things dealing with DC Young Fly. But remember, the last team they played was the Dallas Knights, and it has the Illuminati eye on it. The Dallas Knights has the Jesuit cross, and they're showing you who's running the world in the movie Any Given Sunday. And the first show he debuted on was called The Jamie Foxx Show at King's Tower. King's Hotel. King's Hotel. And his family owned this hotel, and he worked for his family, his aunt and uncle. But his name was Jamie King. And it's funny because the coronation of King Charles happened around the same time he goes into the stroke. And his alternate personality, I don't know, some people said that he had A alternate personality. What was his alternate personality name? Y'all put it in the chat, because I'm gonna blow people's minds when I reveal this. Yeah, check. Brian's funny. What was Jamie Foxx alternate personality in the show the Jamie Foxx show? Said Donut was talking about the King stuff. Shout out to Donut. Yeah, his name was Tyrone. His name was Tyrone. He was a news reporter. And remember, Fox News fired 2 prominent people. Remember, his name is Jamie Foxx. Fox News fired 2 prominent TV reporters around the time he caught that, whatever he caught. We don't even know what it is. If he's blind, he caught a stroke. But remember, Fox News, and Fox equals 666 in gematria. But the movie he's about to come out this month is called They Clone Tyrone. So his alternate personality in his first debut on TV, his name was, the name of the alternate personality was Tyrone. And now the movie is about to come out called They Clone Tyrone. Nobody made that connection. Nobody made that connection. You see? This is why we have to do this type of stuff. This is hyperlucidity. So you can see through the rim and see how much of a world stage that we're on. And we're just getting started with today. This is some crazy stuff. So this month, They Clone Tyrone is coming out. Must-see movie to see what type of revelation of the method Masonically they're having with Jamie Foxx right now. Okay, you have that. And I remember the first trailer for They Clone Tyrone, Jamie Foxx wasn't even in the movie. They redid the whole thing and put him back in the movie. So I remember the first trailer because on my old YouTube, I covered it. So everything comes full circle. Going back into Immortal theory, Kelly Rowland says she would play late legend Donna Summers in a heartbeat. Could she be of the Immortal theory, and maybe she is actually Donna Summers, or is she a clone of Donna Summers? This made news this week. So I'm looking at all of these twins that I see, because in the mythology, the twin is the main aspect of the whole occult lore. When you look into the twins, shoot, the star Sirius is a twin star. A lot of people don't know that. Sothis, Sirius, Sopdet is a twin star, is a binary star. So they're pulling occult lore, but at the same time, they're manipulating the world stage to make us see certain things. And only the priesthood of the genetic clan data can really see through these things. And I'm going to break down Egregors today as well. We're going to get a good class in so we can see what they're doing with that. Okay, yeah, we talked about him in the movie Soul. We discussed that last video. All right, so another thing that people were curious about is the Eye of Horus displaying the virile worm parasite that body snatches people. Even the master teacher, Dr. Alim Bey, he came to the post and said, this is phenomenal information. And people don't really know the process of how this happens. When they show all of the celebrities with the black eyes, You see all of these people with black eyes. They call it the Black Eye Club. What is actually happening with that? What is the physics of it? And I explain this, that in Abrahamic magic, they can put the pentagram on the ground. And I'm going to describe the pentagram a little bit later. But they lay this pentagram out with chalk. And they put their candles out there. And they lay a slab of meat in the middle of the pentagram. Now, last video, I spoke about how the polar region in the constellations of astrological, zodiacal areas in the Uranometria, the atlas map of the skies, the night skies, I showcased that cosmic intelligences are relaying through the stars like telephone poles. So what they're trying to do with this slab of meat that they put in the middle of the pentagram is pull the energy down from those cosmic intelligences. And it's codependent on where the person is that's enacting this virile worm ritual. Where are they on the ley lines in the dragon paths of the planet on the azimuthal equidistant map, so the energies can pour into the magnetosphere? And what begins to happen when this slab of meat is left out for weeks, the meat begins to rot. And we all know in putrefaction of rotting, what happens is maggots begin to envelop inside of that meat, and these worms. Well, what you don't know is if you put it in the pentagram, worms start to develop inside of the meat. And they take one of these worms, it's virile worms, it's literally archons possessing the body of the parasites within this slab of meat inside of the pentagram. This is all documented in black magic. And they take that worm and they squeeze it in this microtubule liquid, which has these micro worms inside of the liquid. They pour it in their eye, kind of like an eye drop. And these smaller worms go into their body through their eyes, and they begin to body snatch these people. And now the archons now have a host. It's all documented. So the Black Eye Club is people who participated in this Abrahamic pentagram ritual. And every time you see a person like that, we could be witnessing someone who lost their body, someone who's no longer there. And when you could describe the physics of that, then it's less of the woo-woo theories of somebody just saying a walk-in can claim a person's body, which I don't believe any aspect of that. Yeah, you said it's very, very gross. You said like Lovecraft Country when the police spit on the little girl, little black girl. Yeah. So yeah. And we'll have questions towards the end. Anybody have any questions? All of this is developed through egregores. It's all egregores. So before we get into that, let me talk to you about what's going on with DC Young Fly. Huge ritual this week where I believe that DC Young Fly, his partner Miss Jackie O, was sacrificed for a reason. And we're going to break you into some of the gematria, and we're going to break you into some other things that people did not unveil. You said, how do they go about choosing these celebrities to be a part of the Black Eye Club? Well, I'm not a part of the Club Black Knight, but there's plenty of literature and documentation of the virile societies, the virilia, that talk about the worms and all of that type stuff. They've been speaking about it for years. So I'm not a part of those societies of how they select it. I don't even want to know. So I would assume it's gematria based, it's Kabbalah based Black Knight. So Miss Jackie O supposedly passed away from a mommy makeover. Now, if you type her full name, Miss Jacqueline Smith, in gematria, you get the Jesuits' favorite number, which is 201, which we know what happened when they rolled out Event 201 in 2019, and a year later, we had the pandemic, revelation of the method. You see what I'm saying? 201. She died 213 with 213 days left in the year. Death in the satanic gematria cycle equals 213. Also, Tupac released the album All Eyes on Me, or was it Machiavelli? Either All Eyes on Me or Machiavelli, whatever his last album was. He released it on February 13th, 2/13. Then he died 213 days later because death in the satanic gematria cipher equals 213. All of this is done by numbers, which I'll explain even further earlier. I mean, further, what I said, later, not earlier, later. So Azealia Banks came out today. And haven't I covered her before? You guys probably, some of you remember when I used to cover Azealia Banks' crazy ass. Some of you don't remember her sacrificing her cat. She sacrificed chickens and her cat. Hopefully these pictures aren't too. So this is a picture of her sacrificing or showing how she sacrifices chickens. And she keeps it in her house. Real disgusting stuff. And then there's another story of how she sacrificed her cat and kept the head. So why is she a part of this? She came out today and claimed it was Machiavelli. Thank you, Hollow Vegeta. Oh, it came out. Machiavelli came out after he was gone. So it was All Eyes on Me. So she came out. Azealia Banks says that because of her black magic, she also puts gematria in it. But she said DC Young Fly spent years disguising his own deeply rooted hatred of self as jokes pointed out as at women's beauty. So this is a whole feminist whole thing. She's riding the feminist thing, projecting his own feelings about his own ugliness onto women. So what happened was DC Young Fly clowned Azealia Banks on Wild 'N Out. That's the mediator, the show that connects all of this black magic from Nick Cannon, who sacrificed Nick Cannon last year sacrificed his son on Ignatius of Loyola, the person who started the Jesuit order, the first general of the Jesuit order. He sacrificed his newborn baby on that day. And it's funny because Ignatius of Loyola died by the fire of a cannon. And Nick Cannon sacrificed his son on that same day of his anniversary of his death. And the Jesuit order is a son cult. Giving you a lot of keys right now. Giving you a lot of keys. But she says, Azealia Banks says, ironically, she's dead at 32, exactly on my 32nd birthday, May 31st, 2023, in Miami, Florida. Now, DC Young Fly supposedly called her ugly and made her cry on TV during a Wild and Out roast session. Yeah, it was comedy. Then she said, "You N-words are going to learn to stop effing with me." So she's saying that the reason why Jackie O is dead is because of her black magic. Because of her black magic. Now, it was interesting that Jackie O passed in Miami, Florida, because the Miami Heat is playing the Denver Nuggets, and it's a satanic ritual in the NBA Finals. The NBA Finals equals 666 in Sumerian gematria. You can see it down here if this thing wasn't blocking it, but it's down here. And the Heat won the last game, which made it tied at 1-1. It was the first time they won inside of Denver's stadium since 6 years, 6 months, and 6 days. So the last time they beat Denver at home was November 30th of 2016. So this was a satanic ritual for them to win that game. And also, if Jokic makes it to game 7, he will be in his 666 game. 666 game. It was all satanic rituals. Now, this is the thing. The NBA Finals started on JFK's birthday. The ritual of DC Young Fly, his significant other, being sacrificed is connected to JFK, because people don't understand that JFK's wife name is Jackie O. Her name is Jackie Onassis or Onassis or something like that. But they used to call her Jackie O. Jacqueline O. So now it's full circle. She died in Miami. The Miami Heat is playing the Denver Nuggets. And the NBA Finals commenced on JFK's birthday, and his wife's name was Jackie O. Do y'all get it? So it was a sacrifice. Now, the star of the Miami Heat, let me show you revelation of the method. Jimmy Butler, who is Michael Jordan's son. We have a lot of evidence that he's Michael Jordan's son. Some occult stuff connected to it, because he was raised by a white family, a foster family. Never knew his father, but Michael Jordan has attended all of the finals games. So they're making a joke and a mockery out of this. He played for Jesuit University Marquette. And the interesting thing is, this is revelation of the method. You see this thing circled down here? He says, the one thing I never wear is a Miami Heat jersey. Why would he say that? Coming out of Marquette, is because he already knew he would be drafted by the Miami Heat, and he was given that line. These people, it's just like WWE, guys. When we used to watch WWE. Yeah, he was 23 when he said it. Yeah. When you watch WWE, all of these people get their lines far ahead. You know? Yeah, that's when he was drafted to the Bulls. He was drafted to the same team his father won those championships on. He was drafted to the Chicago Bulls. He was 23. He said the one thing he never wears is a Miami Heat jersey. But he played for Marquette, Jesuit University. You see? Now, DC Young Fly, let me see. I didn't get this. How long ago did House Party come out? Let's look that up. Hold on one second. He played in House Party. He played the DJ in House Party. Hold on, let's reset it. As soon as we get rolling. As soon as we get rolling. So it came out on January 13th. It's funny because his wife's birthday is November 3rd. So January 13th and November 3rd is the number 113. And if you're not into gematria, you should know that the number 113 is very, very known in gematria. Why is that? 113 indicates in the Talmud that a Jew is allowed, it's called the verse of Baba Kama, a Jew is allowed to lie. Yeah, he's playing Martin's part. Yeah, he's playing Martin's old part. A Jew is allowed to lie to a non-Jew, and it's not a sin to lie to the Goyim, call it the Goyim. So it's talking about a lie. So she did not die of a mommy makeover. She was sacrificed. That's what they're trying to tell you. Here's the vow of silence. This is Masonic, the vow of silence on the movie cover. It's all Masonic. You said the Miami Heat are the only team to retire Michael Jordan's number 23 other than Chicago. Interesting. What's going on, light bands? So let's do the date calculation. Let me show you how to do this. I'm showing you how to research live on here. From January 13th, 2023 to, hold on. When is she? So her death date, just making sure. Oh. No, that's not right. It has to be one day. Hold on, this is not the regular calculator. Start date. From January, hold on, I got it right here. From January 13th, this thing is not set up like the regular one, so you have to set it up on your phone, and it takes you directly there. June 1st, when Jackie O was announced deceased, is exactly 139 days. 4 months, 19 days. Now you do that from her birthday. You get 42 weeks, 294 days. Okay. So the main thing you got to look for is what is the prime number? The prime numbers tell you the ritual. If you don't understand prime numbers and also triangular numbers, they can hide a whole other side of the ritual that people can't see by you not understanding that one thing. So that's the prime number, the 42nd prime number. In gematria, 42 equals the N word, the Nigger word, and the Negro word, and it was 42 weeks from his birth. So the 42nd prime number in 42 weeks from her death. I mean, from the house party debut with DC Young Fly. And another thing I'm going to show that's connects to 42 is in the movie Spider-Man that's out right now. They put the 42 all up in that too, which they're basically calling Miles Morales the N-word. Anytime you see this 42, it goes to blacks, brothers, darkies, shackles, all types of stuff. 42 is one of the most derogatory numbers that they connect with melanated people. He's wearing the 42 jersey. They got him in the trans colors. The spider is in the trans colors, the trans flag, and it all connects. Yeah, I saw that. So that's the connection there. But okay, so what happened in the movie? The movie was talking about a party in LeBron James' house. LeBron James played for the Miami Heat as well. So they're having this house party in LeBron James' house. And there was an Illuminati meeting inside of LeBron James' house, which they're telling you these people are part of a secret order. Let me play it for you.
That's the first ritual. Take a sip to show solidarity.
What kind of wine is this? Look a little different.
It's not wine. It's blood.
What?
Drink it. You pour a cover.
Oh, hell no.
Drink that shit, nigga. Right, you. Come on. Come on. Kiss me funny. That's crazy.
It's a Kanye West jaw. So now they're showing all of the people that they killed and they collected body parts from. It's supposed to be satire, but you better know what's going on.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So Soldier Boy's glasses.
Before you leave tonight, do not forget to choose which days it will rain next year. Furthermore,
let's go.
So please donate on the way out or find a victim. Thank you very much. Enjoy the night.
Oh, shit, man. Ain't that Kid and Play?
So they show Kid and Play in there. Kid and Play is at the Illuminati meeting. You think that's a coincidence? You think that's a coincidence? I was trying to show you this stuff, man. Now watch what happens after they identify Kid and Play. Yeah, the movie was trash. The movie is very trash, but you got to understand that this occult symbolism is trash for a reason. They're making these movies all trash for a reason.
Kid and Play? Hey, God bless you, man.
So they looking at him because he said, God bless you. So they automatically knew, because it's a satanic cult, him using the word God. You see what I'm saying? So they all start, hold on, I'll play it.
Oh, what? God tripping, man.
All right, so it's just get real silly, but that's Kid Cudi. Of course, he's bussified. They always got him in a dress. So DC Young Fly and Miss Jackie O both equals 138 in gematria. Y'all should follow a guy. I got these photos from Call Me Kinfolk. Call Me Kinfolk on YouTube. Shout out to that brother. He does great content. We probably need to get him on here to break down some stuff in the future. By the way, we're going to have Sophia Stewart on Friday, possibly. I forgot about that, to let you guys know that we should have the creator and owner of the Matrix series, Sophia Stewart, and she's going to break down the $1 billion lawsuit that she had for ownership of the Matrix, and we're going to get exclusive content to see what was truths and what was falsified perspectives that people made on her. So look for that on Friday. If not, it may get pushed back into the weekend, but we might be live back on Friday. So Miss Jackie O, DC on flight 138, death is 38. She got a mommy makeover. Mommy makeover equals 61. She supposedly died on the date 6/1. You get it? Mommy makeover. Skull and crossbones. This is the year of skull and crossbones. That equals 61. All connects through Wildin' Out. I connected that earlier. And it's a date with 118 that she died on. No, that he was born on. Okay. DC Young Fly was born May 2nd, 1992. You add that up, that's 118. Wildin' Out equals 118. Death equals 118 in the Latin Jewish Agrippa's key cipher. One of the most important ciphers you can look at is that purple one. So that was apparently a sacrifice. Apparently that was a sacrifice. We also connected today, and we connected to Miami Heat. Okay, so Drake did a ritual, whereas he put on these yellow and blue nails, and he's wearing this state property like he's a prisoner, like he's in jail or something like that, and is indicating something because Drake is from Toronto, and we have these Canadian fires. We know Ukraine is at war. I don't have the picture of his other nail, but he has yellow and blue nails. We know that's the Ukraine flag. So they kind of bussify these guys, but it's still a occult message encoded in it. You said your message disappeared. I don't know why. I don't know why your message disappeared. So yeah, that's what they're doing with Drake. 21 Savage came out and revealed that he wants to be cryogenically frozen until the year 2121. Well, we know Jeffrey Epstein was really into that science, and Walt Disney got cryogenically frozen. It's probably a part of that whole immortal theory thing. Then we have Isaac Washup from Illuminati Watcher breaking down the Taylor Swift ritual. Did y'all hear about the energy weapon at Taylor Swift concert? So article came out, BBC News. Taylor Swift fans report amnesia following the Eras show. So they couldn't remember some of the songs and some of the performances. So is this an energy weapon that's being used on her fans? Let's see what Isaac has to say about it.
Swift is still Illuminati confirmed after all these years. She started out with the humiliation ritual with Kanye West, and then she got me banned from YouTube in 2016 because I was pointing out all the symbolism of the dying, resurrecting god Osiris you can see in her videos. So let's give it another go. Her latest music video with Ice Spice Baby is called Karma, and it's about astrological alignments and Taylor being the initiate going underground to receive indoctrination. That's why you see her as the devil and also as Alice in Wonderland, which is an initiatory tale. Before the video is over, we see her and Ice Spice embracing Saturn and becoming gods. Her concert is a whole other issue. The media is selling this as a cultural event because Taylor is owned by Capital One and tickets will set you back $1,400. The tour started in Phoenix, Arizona, the city named after the occult symbol of rebirth. Recall how her videos show us the death and rebirth. And Taylor even co-opted a new chant at her show of summon the demons during a reenactment witchcraft ritual performance. Spend $1,400 and shit your pants with everyone at the concert. Knock yourself out. I'm just putting out the occult symbolism. Follow my page for all the celebrity Illuminati news.
Yeah, so yeah, she did that video with Ice Spice, and they were showing symbolism of how the astrology in Vedic astrology, the dark side of it is encoding karmic debts that we have down here. And most of the time with your astrology chart, you're supposed to figure out what's dark in your chart so you can break the cycle of your karmic debt. It's called the Dharma. Dharma is resolving all of the karmic debt from your past lives. So one was pulling Saturn, the other was pulling the moon. And in Vedic astrology, Saturn and the moon depicts occult mysteries and restriction, which is very important because Vedic astrology details how the moon passes through the fixed stars called nakshatras. And that shows how your mind and your soul disseminates itself into this realm, which is more important than Western astrology, which just breaks down how your ego projects itself through the specific astrological sign you were born under, which is the sun sign. So you have the sun, the ascendant, and the moon in your houses. Then you have Rahu and Ketu. And we do consultations and we break all of that down. If you're interested in knowing what is your Vedic chart and your houses and the deity associated with the star constellation that your soul descends from. We've been doing that for about 4 years now. Got to bring Kalini back on here. She's a Vedic astrologer that is probably a master teacher to me. Anything she says, I'm looking into her posts and keeping up on what's happening in the stars.
I'd definitely be into that, Oni.
Yeah, man. That's very huge for you to know your Vedic astrological chart. It's very big, bro. So we got to bring her back on to break that down. So if Saturn is very malefic. Saturn is very important. Very important. So they're trying to force us into our ego. Yeah, so yeah, she had a video. She had a lot of the trans colors in it. I broke all of that down. She has this butterfly tattoo showcasing monarch programming. Doing a lot on the celebrities today. We're getting through a lot of hyperlucidity. Are the island boys Epstein's sons? That whole thing broke about a week ago or 2 weeks ago now. He was spotted wearing the evil eye red string Kabbalah necklace or bracelet. This guy, the Fly Soldier one, Alex and Frankie Venegas. And they're saying that these guys are being exposed of being Epstein's sons. That's interesting because they said they are island boys. I'm an island boy. And maybe they were on the island. Which island? Maybe Epstein's island. All of this is matrix controlled revelation of the method. We got to talk about it. There's a new video game that's about to come out. Diablo. We have to speak about this because the Diablo poster that they painted on the side of I think that's a Chicago building, is showing the dark goddess Lilith. Even KFC participated in it. They put Diablo in their promo. KFC welcomes all. Order any chicken sandwich on $5.29. Then you get Diablo, some type of unlocking in game awards. And Lilith is the entity. It says Lilith welcomes all in 6/6/2023. That was yesterday. Sumerian word for owl is Nina. Ninia is the divine lady owl. Canadian for the Kalili, Nininia, which means Anana, Ishtar, a derivation of Lilith, meaning the night owl or the screech owl. And she's the first shell of the Qliphoth. Now, the thing about this, these people that be playing these video games, we got to talk about that. Because when you're sitting in front of a video game, these children that's sitting in front of these video games for hours. I did a video on Patreon about MPG Ultra. Whereas when you're absorbing the color pixels on the stream of watching hundreds of beings get killed, whether you're playing Call of Duty, you're killing humans, or you're playing, the Warlock games where you're killing demons and other dimensional entities and monsters, you go under a hyper suggestibility, which is mesmerism or hypnotism. From staring at the stream, it opens up the psyche for a entity to infiltrate. And this is a MK Ultra trauma-based mind control. It's called internet gaming disorder, or gaming disorders in general. And some of the top shootings in America came from gamers, which I have in this picture down here at the right corner. Maybe the video games and the internet games is being used to create the homunculus or the Mancarian candidate, because Lucifer opens up the gate. Lucifer opens the unconscious mind to suggestibility. That can be a bad thing or a good thing, because Lucifer translates to light bringer. I'm not saying to be a Luciferian. I'm saying to understand the occult meaning of it. When you go into meditation, you're opening the mind to hyper suggestibility, but you don't have to program it with something negative like killing in a video game. You can program it into something cosmic, something beyond the magnetosphere. So your soul has something to look forward to, which we're going to get into when we break down this black light in a second. So you said the new Apple Vision Pro. Yeah, that's MPG Ultra. Whatever they're doing with that new Apple Vision Pro. I saw somebody post about it. It looks like some swimmer goggles. That's all MPG Ultra. Speaking of video games, we did a video last week on Patreon on how AI has this new company called AI Seance, where you can speak to your loved ones through AI. And they're saying they're trying to make it sound as magical and as mystical as possible. Digital Seance, new AI tech will mimic speaking to the dead family and friends. The rise of AI. So this is where we come to necromancy through machines. So they're going to start combining cybernetics to magic. That's the next thing they're about to do. So you can join Patreon and get a full breakdown. We went through the whole history of where artificial intelligence came from in the ancient world. Hell of a video. So y'all can listen to that. And also I did another video a while back on how some of those people that took the jab, inside of nanoparticles, there's something called Lucifer rays. And what they're trying to do is create a necromantic network, whereas these dead jab persons can be tracked by this app. Forgot the name of the app. It's called Chip Checker, the Chip Checker app. And these electronic chips in the nanotechnology still works after death. And it's creating a ELF wave system that's being enveloped, just like the Gwyn Towers over areas. In these 15-minute cities that they keep promoting is something that's going to be utilized for that. So you can just be walking past a railroad track by a graveyard, and your phone can pick up on somebody that was buried in the ground that had the jab. Your phone starts to go off. Yeah, you said aren't clones just scientific homunculus? Absolutely. Still all magical. Everything is all magical. So yeah, let me break this down real quick. Let's go back up here. So through all the trauma porn that our lower self feeds off, let me explain how the noetic science of semiotics has already written in its code the ending to the Elieth. Elieth, when you're looking into Gnosticism, there's these things called aeons. We did a video on Patreon for Generation Z called The Study of Aeonology, breaking the aeons separate from the archons. The aeons are like the Sephirotic version to the archons as the Cliphotic versions of consciousness, the unconscious mind to the conscious mind, in the rings of consciousness that leads us up out of the physical into what's beyond the magnetosphere is what aeons are. And Elieleth is an aeon of a warrior class that's to come back in the last days. They either call it Elieleth or Alaleth. So the archon's destruction, we have a text already showing how we're going to destroy this thing. So now we don't even have to worry. Let me read this to you on the archons and their destruction. More cosmic signs, then the sun will become dark and the moon will cause its light to cease. The stars of the sky will cancel their circuits. The lower aeons will collapse, and the luminous fire, which created the archons, will also destroy them. So remember they said in the Bible that you are supposed to burn by fire? In the Gnostic text on the origin of the world, it says that the archons will be destroyed by a luminous fire because it's the Kundalini fire, the cosmic fire that gives us consciousness, that Prometheus stole from the gods and gave it to humans. So this is a text telling you all of that demon stuff burning in hell, they will be destroyed. And you're going to be the ones that destroy them. Let's continue. It says, "In their heavens will fall one upon the next, and their forces will be consumed by fire. Their eternal realms too will be overturned. Finally, Sophia will cause their destruction. The archons will destroy each other, or Yaldabaoth will destroy them and then himself." So he's going to commit suicide, or God, what is it, deicide. He's going to commit deicide. Quote, in a great clap of thunder will come out of a great force that is above all the forces of chaos, where the firmament, which is the magnetosphere, of the woman Sophia is situated. Having created the first product, she, who is Sophia, will put away the wise fire of intelligence and clothe herself with witless wrath. Then she will pursue the gods of chaos, whom she created along with the prime parent Yaldabaoth. She will cast them down into the abyss. They will be obliterated because of their wickedness, for they will come to be like volcanoes and consume one another until they perish at the hand of the prime parent Yaldabaoth. When he has destroyed them, he will turn against himself and destroy himself until he ceases to exist. For the end will be where the beginning is. So he asks Metatron, how will it all end? And he says, you will know the end when you know the beginning. We already have the end. So you don't have to worry about most of these things that you're going through in life. We win in the end. We win. So that's massive for you to go forward. It shouldn't even be a boost of confidence. It should be confirmation to what we're doing. But this trauma porn that's going on in our community, we got to get more metaphysical and spiritual in breaking the code and understanding this stuff instead of talking about what these people are about to do to us, which, you know, I dib and dabble into that, but you always know you come to an Ani video, you're going to learn something very much spiritual on a quantum level, on a soul physics level. It's not all of that stuff about how are we going to be destroyed. It's about us destroying some shit. That's what we get into. So now there's no excuse because it's already written by the priesthoods of old that we win the war. Even in the Titanomachy, it reveals that the Titans win in the end through the human race. So we are walking portals to the Ragnarok war, and we are the gateways to the syzygies. That's us. Now, what is an egregore and a tulpa? Huge understanding here. An egregore is a quasi-agentic causal structure detailing an intrinsic landscape of game theoretic dynamics that show up in certain kinds of systems. It's an agreeable conscious spiral that can come off as sensibly zombie-ish, a hive mind. In the constraints of our landscapes, the coordination structures put us in a downward spiral like into Canaanite demon worship of the Moloch and Mammon Damianic, hierarchies. So the egregores are a creatrix. We're talking about the innate programs in human consciousness is an egregore. The innate programs of human consciousness that are egregores are hunger, sex, fight or flight, clanning, communication, curiosity, altruism, and God hunger. We can look especially at God hunger, which is the human impulse towards transcendence. The elites want to build a bridge out of the magnetosphere out into these holographic rims with these phallic space rockets, these rockets that resemble a penis, which they're just alluding to the esoteric penetrating into the mystery of the goddess, which is the dark vastness of space that these rockets, quote unquote, are supposed to reach out there. So it's all esoteric. It's not literal because these rockets just fume out once it's a couple of miles up in the sky, then they fall back down into the ocean and we act like they went to the moon or some shit. But they've studied the tulpa and they're demonstrating the tulpa and its influence is had over the masses repetitively for ages. A tulpa is a low-level egregore which acts like a servitor. It is created by placing a cutting of one's own personality within a container to create a ready-made servitor, which can already do basic things like walk or talk. Let me break that down for you real quick. I got a video. I can break this down thoroughly.
Tulpas exist on two planes. One is your conscious and subconscious mind, and the second is the morphic field. When you create a mental tulpa, whether it's a fantastic beast, a spirit animal, or a second self who has new characteristics, the first thing that happens is new neurons fire in new ways and make new pathways in your brain. If the tulpa is meant to bring you prosperity, you'll start thinking in a more prosperous way automatically, consciously and subconsciously. This is the hard physical evidence. It's the same thing as praying, except you have a mental object which has a character, personality, and intelligence that you can even have a dialogue with inside of your mind. The second aspect or second plane that the tulpa operates in is a little harder to prove, but I believe it with all my heart, and I'm going to try my best to prove it to you. This plane is the morphic field, which interlaces and interweaves with the quantum field, and our thoughts go into the morphic field to resonate vibrations of a particular thought or idea, which manifest a physical object in this invisible realm.
Let me rewind that real quick. You got to hear that again.
This plane is the morphic field, which interlaces and interweaves with the quantum field, and our thoughts go into the morphic field to resonate vibrations of a particular thought or idea, which manifest a physical object in this invisible realm.
That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. So you're seeing the quantum physics of what he's saying. That's why I got it on video. You can play it back. You can study this. You can get some books on it. Because a tulpa, I think that's a Tibetan word. Yeah, tulpa is a Tibetan word. And this is what they're doing day by day in the type of magic and sorcery that they deal with. So we're just a part of their tulpa egregor network if we don't learn to free ourselves from indulging in the trauma porn and in the lower apparatus of the materialistic indwellings of the world, trying to get more money, trying to be relevant in people's minds, thinking like a human. We're playing into their tulpa because this landscape, the state you live in, the city state you live in, the country you live in, is all a playground that they've created out of their minds that they want us to feed into that particular reality to enliven it. This egregor becomes comprised within us. That's what they're doing because we have a lack of awareness. It's called the forgotten ones, as Nima Anarahata of Aeon Mayat Lodge puts it, is that we're being influenced. And it's influencing us ultimately. And we rarely credit the exertion that they have, the cryptocratic elite, that they have over our actions. So in conversations of the astral pattern of the human DNA molecule, we can see DNA is concerned with our genus as a whole. The only times the molecular God is interested in individuals are when the occasional favorable mutation manifests, or when individuals threaten the continuity in the development of the genus and species. That same thing holds true with counterfeit false matrices, that the archons egregor has been defined through personalities of peoples and beings, variations of genetic structures represented by the many genera being defined as a class of things that have common characteristics that can be divided into subordinate kinds, and the species on Earth, which this particular species is called the devas. The devas are a part of our mental capacity. What are the devas? You hear about devas in Hindu texts. You'll see pictures of the devas. But what is being described here is on a quantum level. The devas are the elemental intelligence that has the allegiance contract of our souls. So they're tulpas or egregors that has been developed over eras and cycles, yuga cycles, aeons, whatever you want to call it as. And they develop this elemental intelligence as an egregor group. And we come into the realm, and this elemental intelligence, as soon as our soul reincarnates back into a body, is fashioned into the contract of this elemental intelligence. And this contract automatically has a allegiance of our soul to following what the elemental intelligence wants to project. The third eye is here to destroy the allegiances to the elemental intelligence. So the allegiance of our soul comes back into our destiny thread instead of the devas. That's why we are opening the third eye. It don't got nothing to do with some woo-woo type stuff. This thing is a destroyer. It's an interdimensional gate, but it's also a destroyer to separate things. Let's go into this. And hold your questions for the end. I'm going to open up and put the link in here, and then you can come on and ask me questions. We're not too far from the end. Let me get into the lecture for today. So, covering all of these things, we're understanding that the twilight language of the world stage is ritual symbolisms that keep a lot of people addicted to what I called earlier trauma porn, or whatever the elites or elites are planning to do to the masses via media, which is called the Osirian drama. The headlines of news articles and whatever you're looking at on the internet, we have to put our foot on their necks. And we do that by covering the higher conscious threads of information like the cosmic language. The cosmic language that we teach on Patreon. Where's that graphic? I must have moved it down here. Hold on, guys. Here it goes right here. The cosmic language, becoming a master catharsis, a tetrapolarity magnet of spirit. It's a dissemination. This class is a dissemination into how the monad can communicate with our spirit's astral lattices. How does it communicate? Colors. Colors are how spirits communicate to the soul. That's why you would light a certain candle during a certain period of the new moon, the waxing moon, the waning moon, during certain periods of time throughout the year, these candles in recognition of different colors in meditative trances or psychedelic experiences. The only thing that we're disseminating is colors. Now, what we discovered this week is that colors are fallen light of the monad. The stride through Lucifer's falls. The Lucifer's fall is describing the fall of the primal light, and the primal light, when it falls, it becomes colors. It breaks up into what's called colors. The original word was kalas. That's the ancient word. Kalas and colors is one word. We broke that down on Patreon before. All right, so I'll explain that later. So we can find the cosmic language inside of our own black light. There's a Sufic word that you're going to have to understand, and all of this stuff is connected to Sufic Moorish metaphysics. There's a Sufic word. Let me see if I can find my Sufic stuff. Just give me 1 second. Okay, here's the Sufis down here. The Sufic word is called Neurosaya. Neurosaya is a Moorish term denoting black light within the body. This black light is the light inside of us that is in bewilderment, a light so bright that it has the ability to affect the light that's in the parameter and black out that light. So it becomes so bright that it causes a blackout. Everything familiar disappears when this black light is permeating. Like the flame of the candle in the presence of the sun, it is the ideal that God is now so blindingly near that all else becomes invisible when this black light shines. All decoded in the book you can get by Henry Corbin, a Sufic master, called Man of Light. Moorish physics is what we're talking about. And remember, I showed you the arabesque is what is certain biomorphic art patterns that shows how this black light travels in our body. And I'm gonna move in a second to show you if I can get into the hot points. There's certain points in the body that this black light enters in and out of as the Bindu seed waxes and wanes up our Shushana, which is the pole region where centripetal force of the Kundalini is trying to elevate itself into our pineal gland on a daily basis. There's these things that open up inside of your body called a stasis, or it's called childs or hot points. And only in a metaphysical event, whereas psychedelics, deep meditation, can you feel the opening ups of these hot points. And I'm going to describe it in a minute. What's going on, Early B, Tony? You said, how do I spell what? How do I spell what? Is it probably you're talking about neuroscience? It's NURESIYAH. That's probably what you were asking. Try to write your questions down. We're going to have a big Q&A at the end because I know people are going to be asking questions. But this is all Maitreya physics. And I'm going to talk about why we must become the Maitreya in a second after I describe this. So Morris physics is showing us base 12 universal androgynous codes into our Merkaba fields of the Christos, the Christ from Sophia, that can be analyzed in Christology, the study of the Christ, which is the Bindu seed, the quantum dot in our body that's raising through the nadis here. This right here is what I describe as the Shushana. Ida in Pingala is electric and magnetic energy, and this is the Kundalini rising up that spine. And this is a Sushana Nadi. This is the area that it enters once that electromagnetic energy rises daily. And inside, what is causing all of the rise? This is a picture of the spiritual sun and its rising, the Bindu seed. Hold on one second. Some of my pictures is mixed up here. Y'all all right? Put a thumbs up in the chat if everybody's good. Thumb up in the chat right now. Where's that other graphic I got? Somewhere around here, guys. So, not, we'll just leave it how it is. So, just leave it how it is. All right, so yeah, the Sufi is just a Moorish term of a priest. The priesthood is a Sufi. All right, so the Christology is studying this pillar of light in the center of our body. There's a pillar of light in the center of our body. That's why the lotus flower position is the most important position to open up the universe gate for you to interdimensionally travel up out of here in meditation. And it's preparing the soul for the quantum leap. Every day that you meditate, you condition the soul. You're practicing leaving the body permanently, because the only truth about this existence is that you will leave the body. You are going to leave the body. So it's either you understand how that works, or it's going to get you up out of the body, and it's going to be in a retardated state, whereas it doesn't really know where it's going. And that's when the archons step in and say, oh, you don't know what you're doing, so we're gonna take over, because you didn't do your due diligence while you were here. And that's why you're on this video today, is because on this video today is showing that you were selected to get this advanced information. So you don't have no excuse. You were forewarned about this. The reason why your soul brought you here, wherever you're listening on your phone, on your TV, on your laptop, whatever you're listening on, your soul brought you here for a reason. And we're all a part of the same aeon, higher conscious fields. That's why this stuff doesn't get you so freaked out. It resonates because we're all from the same aeon. And we will meet again past this existence. We are energy. So we have this androgynous code that we're trying to get back into, and there's a pillar of light in our body. This pillar of light is interpreted as its own existential panoptic embodiment, stretching out the very top of this universe and beyond it. That's what this represents here at the top. It's stretching out this universe and beyond it, and all the way through where time doesn't even exist anymore. I know what graphic I was looking for now. My bad. I know what graphic I was looking for. It was the same one we were on earlier. Sorry about that, guys. Stretching out of this universe. It stretches beyond it all the way where time doesn't even exist anymore, to an area that's called the primal sound field. This is an area of frequency that the Moors call the arabesque, which is the home of the Maitreyic. The Maitreyic exists in the sacred geometry of the arabesque. These lattices are very sacred, and that's why when the Moors put all of those castles up in Spain, also trumps plus ultra, the Tau in his Mar-a-Lago is the arabesque. So even Trump knows to put this metaphysics that I'm showing you, all of you Trump followers, secretly behind the keyboard. He even knows about the arabesque because he got it in his goddamn house. You don't believe me? There you go right there. There you go right there. Ain't that the same sacred geometrical patterns I'm showing you? Put a thumbs up if I'm showing you the same patterns. See if I'm bullshitting with you guys today. You see? He knows what time it is. And most of these elite people, rich people, know what time it is. He got Moorish sacred geometry in his house. Isn't that house in Miami too? I think it's in Miami or something. So you've seen it in Mexico before? Well, the Moors were all up in there. They were all up in there. So the arabesque physics is the nesting field of pre-geometry of how God's mind is network units of quanta. Let me read this again. The arabesque is a nesting field of pre-geometry of how God's mind is network units of quanta, illustrating scalar waves into a family of dynamical systems. That's got to go in my new book. That has to go in my new book. So there are old tales about a counterforce on this planet that foils the progress, a force that cannot be commanded by ritual magic, a mischievous force in an archonic template that is alleged to be a prankster pedagogue that teaches wisdom of things as they are, which are not as they seem. A caveat to those who would sell their immortal souls to the insubstantial pageant for knowledge that turns to sorrow. With the onset of machine technology, known by virtual reality in today's time, the immersion of man and mankind into the counterfeit computer-generated cryptosphere intensified within the march of induced hallucination, digital money, Walmart junk food, or these miracles by priests in lab coats. It accelerates, it commensurates with spiritual and mental deaths of the animated corpses of the masses of the walking dead in America. Men and women who used to be family-oriented, that had community values, possessing some sense of place, are now alchemically transformed into beasts who care for nothing but money and television. Those who were alchemically transformed out of that beast are minds that become the Maitreyics, which are the masters of waveform. So we're not of that aptitude of consciousness. We're transformed because we're in direct connection with the Sushana in the nadis. You just got to know how to activate your ship and pilot it. You got to know how to get in it. Yeah, the Moors were in Mexico. Moors were all over the world. The Moors were all over the world. The Moors were a priestly class of people. You do have the dirty Moors. They did a lot of messed up shit. They the ones who put the Black Law Dictionary together and all of that, and trapped everybody into the straw man thing. There's some Moors that put that together. But the Moors go all the way back to the Olmecs. Even the Olmecs got fezzes on and shit. I can show you a picture of that, but absolutely. I'm gonna put the link in there in a minute. Hard to find. Shout out to you, brother. So we are alchemically transformed minds that become the Maitreyics. What is the Maitreya? The Maitreya is the masters of waveform mechanics and multiverse timelines that blend the destiny thread back down into the aeonological theomorphic bodies. We'll break that down if you got to understand what that is. The Maitreya physics is the teachings of multiverse mind maps that the masters accumulated knowledge of from the Lemurian period, that the mental temple houses the maps, and the more and more the carbon atom. So in your body, you have this carbon atom. Let me show you this thing. So this could be on video, and this will be an excellent introduction to what we'll cover this week on Patreon. Here, hold on, this isn't it. Hold on. This is what it looks like. Okay. This is what is at the base of your spine. This is what it looks like, but this is not what I'm searching for. Hold on. Hold on. I got it, guys. Just give me a second. Here it goes right here. Yep. Yep. I knew I'll have it. Look at that. Look at that at the bottom here. You see this at the bottom, the Christ and Ganesha in the carbon atom. So the carbon atom possesses the Christ inside of it and is at the base of your spine called the coccyx. Yeah, I've read that book. For Real, the Coming Race. Yes. I've read that book. That's all esoteric. Ain't no people living up under the damn ground and shit. It's esoteric. The people living up under the earth, the whole hollow earth theory is a morphogenetic family of entities living in your body. You are the hollow earth. You're the hollow earth. All of these things are esoteric. There ain't no literal hollow earth going on. You the hollow earth. See, when you start to take, when you take things out that they tell you that are physical, then you put it inside of you, you apply it to you, then you get it. You get the whole, you become initiated once that happens. Because all they're trying to do is take out everything that is your birthright spiritually and make it literal and have you searching around for a goddamn big ass hole in the planet, thinking you about to find some Varelia people with wings and shit, when you the Varelia people. It always was you. They even showed that. They showed it in Dragonheart, and they showed it in what is that other Chinese movie, that you were always the master. The master just didn't tell you. Yeah, hallowed be thy name. That's right. Hallowed be thy name. So what we're doing, we're building this mental temple. This mental temple will house the maps of the multiverse, and the more and more the carbon atom is induced with the black light frequency of your consciousness, it rises up in the Bindu seed, in the nadis. The word nadi means spiritual cells across the body. All of these are spiritual cells that you feel in your body all the time, on your face. It's all over your body. I got a picture of the whole body got these things. Even when they them Chinese people do the Chinese medicine on you, all of that is the nadis that they poke it. So all of that, the black light induces the carbon atom. The Bindu and nadis are absolved back into Samadhi. So the more and more you raise the Kundalini energy and it goes through the top of your head, all you have to do is picture a small thread of light, slowly rapid. You got to imagine this in your mind. It's called the mundus imaginalis. I broke it down on esoteric engineering. The mundus imaginalis, the divine ship of the soul's imagination, is right inside of your mind. You just have to access it. It's called the Fantasticon Pneuma in Stoicism. It's another study of noetic science and metaphysics. You are the metaphysician. All you have to do is picture this golden thread, this light thread, slowly circling up your spine like a snake, and you start to feel the nadis go off, like they're lighting up. And by the time you get to your head, you imagine it going straight out of your head, out into the universe. And what happens in your meditation, based on your breathing, is very quintessential. Your breathing is important. You're going to see everything at this one point absolve before your eyes. Matter of fact, let me give you the meditation technique. The Sufic masters, or the Maitreyics, practice this technique. And the technique is a 11-hour meditation. I'm not saying that you have to do this. I'm just giving you the background to this thing. Hold on one second. Let me show you what this is. Okay, so what we are moving into is rare spaces of metaphysics, where the ones who are going to get the significance of these lessons I'm giving to you will transmute back into the Godhead, the monad. Samadhi cannot be achieved by a mutant or hylic. So if people have a hard time doing this, or just say you're not even interested in doing this, you're probably a hylic or a mutant. You wouldn't be able to achieve Samadhi anyway. And Samadhi is just when the Kundalini energy reaches the pineal gland and it ignites in your mind, and you just see this it's almost like a shock. It's like recreating the Big Bang over in your head. It's like this biggest implosion, and then you're in meditation. You forget that you're meditating, and by the time you come back in the body, you're either laid out on the floor, or you forgot where you were in space and time once it reaches that area. So we are the true archetypes, architects. Excuse me. We are the true architects of this black light of thoughtlessness. See, there's no thinking when samadhi happens. Thinking stops. Time stops. All of that stops. It's another dimension. And at that point, you are accessing sacred autodidactic source codes into the catharic control center to the manifestations of being. What that is the investigation of something called the Sankharas. This is a new term I want to introduce, in which the Sufis spoke about a 11-hour meditation technique for 7 days. I'm not saying that you have to do this. I'm telling you what the masters did. That's why they got you working and procreating kids and all of that. They trying to keep you out of this shit. It's an 11-hour meditation technique for 7 days, whereas you focus on the bicameral mind. And what the bicameral mind is 3,000 years ago, humans were not fully conscious. They were relying before then on a two-part bicameral mind, with one half of the mind speaking to a other voice of the gods that gave guidance whenever a difficult situation presented itself. So the bicameral mind, we used to be able to hear this other voice in our head. Then the church comes along and calls it demons. The bicameral mind eventually collapsed as human societies became more complex, and our forebears awoke with modern self-awareness, complete with a internal narrative, which has its roots in language. So language destroyed the bicameral mind. Samadhi is the gateway back into the primal mind of the first hominids, the first androgynes. After a while in this meditation, you'll be able to hear these two vortex rings. So around your body, you have a vertical vortex ring right down. Look where my mouse is. Look at the stream. Right down the middle, you have a ring, a phantom plasmic ring rotating. Then you have another one rotating around your body. The deeper you meditate, and I've done this before, you'll be able to hear this sound. It's like yum, yum, yum. And it's the rings are spinning in opposite directions of orientation away from each other. And long after you've initiated yourself into that 7-day, 11-hour meditation process, you will hear the rings naturally throughout your life, and you'll be able to see and hear the so-called soul rings. We can call it soul rings. Okay. The lecture today, which I've covered deeply, a lot of it. I'm going to save some for Patreon. Today is about the black light seed body. So you're either that holographic seed, which is Helix, or you're the black light seeds. The black light seed body is what Michael Berdio and Kenneth Grant, along with other 19th century occult elitists, they unveiled about how other theosophists, Gnostics, monks, magicians seldomly would write about these daemonic realities of Universe B. Universe B is in the book Holographic Universe, where they're detailing that we're in the wrong universe. And when you're looking at the Qliphoth in the Kabbalah, that's the real universe, the Qliphoth. I'm not telling you to see the Qliphoth. They tell you it's a bunch of demons and all of that. The Qliphoth ain't nothing but the hidden parts of yourself that you neglected. That's why they call it demons and stuff, because once you neglect it over time, it starts to come back and mess with you. It's kind of like you have a child somewhere out in the world. You don't take care of that child and you meet that child. What is going to be the response of that child towards you? You already know. So the neglected parts of yourself formulates the Qliphoth, which is the opposite of the Kabbalah. All right, so universe B is the physics of that arabesque that we spoke of earlier. The map, the mental map of the arabesque is called Herkalia. It's a Sufic word. Herkalia is spelled Hurqalyah. Hurqalyah. And this is in a book called Polaria, Gift of the White Stone. Okay. Herkalia is a secret word from the masses. This is a term that I'll explain today that connects what we study on Patreon called Azealia. Azealia is reality engineering, building the mental temple that's quintessential to serving the soul's divine intelligence past death. The Illuminati, or the cryptocratic supremacist orders, not only wants to use the Qliphoth and Kabbalah to enslave lost souls into base 10 mathematics, they want to fill up the Bardo realm or the purgatory realm so that the halcyon of non-initiatic egregores stagnate the realms of transmutable frequency. Let me help you understand this. In Kabbalah, there's base 10 schematics, which isn't something we're trying to study. We're studying the Cathara, but let me explain the base 10 schematics. Kabbalah shows 10 spirays that have enslaved us. The 10 spirays also can be shown throughout time, whereas it shows on this egregore map how the Canaanites transferred their egregore to the Egyptian pharaohs, to the Romans, to the Khazars, to the Vatican, to the Templars, to the Kabbalists, to the Swiss bank account owners, to the Jesuits, to the Freemasons, to the Bavarian Illuminati, all the way down to the USA 1776. It's showing you how the matriculation happens of how we think. The way we think is in this base 10 schematic scheme. We don't study base 10 schematics on Patreon. We study base 12, which is the crystal spiral. The Christosis is the Christ conscious, because you got 12 strands of DNA. And why would I only study 10 of them? I'm trying to activate all 12. So they messed up on that. Let me explain this base 10 schematics that they've enslaved us with. The base 10 schematics is a scheme for energy to resurrect itself through the modalities of the void in space. As I said in the last video, when you're looking into the night sky, you're looking directly into the spirit realm, or the void of the triple blackness of the mother goddess. So when you look up at night, you're looking into the spirit realm. We have to start to condition our consciousness differently when we're looking at these things, and not do what they tell us, or situate our minds in a way that they tell us how things work. So the ground of the earth is the shadow. Okay, so let me explain this. The night sky is a resurrection continuum of consciousness, the empty void. That's what it does. Its job is to resurrect consciousness. The ground here on earth is a physical ergosphere to the biological continuum. So the ground regenerates the biological facets of this planet. That's what the ground is here to do. The dirt, the earth, that's what it's here to do. Then we have our physical bodies, which are a resurrection machine to consciousness in biology. So the consciousness is now in biology. We're a combination of the night sky and the earth. Okay, let me I know that's probably confusing. Let me put the link up in here so you guys can ask some questions, because I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm gonna put the link in here, and while I'm doing the lecture, you can ask questions while I'm finishing, and I'll answer any questions right now. So the link is pinned at the top. That's how you get in the StreamYard. Let me cancel out some of this stuff. All right, we got somebody that want to come in here. Peace, peace.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Very good. I've just been watching quietly and taking notes.
Great, great. Did you have any questions?
Quite a
based
few.
on what we just covered? Because I understand. I'm listening though, because I know I went around a lot of things, and I said let me slow down and listen to you guys.
Let me reach back here.
Okay, take your time. And
when you were talking about the archons, like
yes.
The archons, is that essentially kind of like the worms that come down through the process of what they do to create the things they put in their eye, in a sense?
Okay, let me explain this. What the archons, see, you're talking about the worms.
Yes.
You're talking about the worms. Okay. Let me explain what the archons is, so you got to understand that. Before you get the worms, you got to understand what the archons is.
Okay.
So this right here is called the pleroma. This is a map of the divine mind of who we are. Whoever Paul is, if you're listening, I can't get you in here. Something wrong with your phone. Can't get you up in here. So this is a map of our divine mind. It starts at this point up here. This is called the Bythos. Then down here is called Sophia. And this little one is where the archons are. The archons form out of these lines, which are called syzygies. One half over here, this right side is the masculine half of the aeons, and this left side is the feminine side of the daemons. Together, they form the realm of the archons, which are in between the realms. You see these lines in the middle that come down here, and they end up right in the pentagram. These are the archons. They're the children of the daemons in the aeons. Now, what are the daemons and the aeons? The aeons are the conscious and superconscious mind of God, which is the monad, the supreme mind that we all pour out of. We are not individuals. We are nothing but clone mind, mental threadings to this point up here, which is the Bindu seed.
Yeah.
The daemons are the unconscious, subconscious mind of God. And the archons, really, they lean more on the feminine half because their mother is Sophia. Sophia made a mistake. Sophia birthed the archons. So they are more of the unconscious, subconscious mind of God. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And if y'all not asking no questions, I ask y'all to mute your mic, and we'll get you on in a minute. Okay, Paul, I just got you on, bro. Y'all mute your mic, and we'll get you on next. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so when they get the worms, they're calling down a cosmic intelligence to possess this non-vertebrate entity called a worm, or it's not even it's a worm or a maggot or something like that. Now, what the church didn't tell you is possession isn't bad. They're trying to achieve something called divine possession. So the Vatican, they're trying to get possessed by a entity of the higher lattices of consciousness. I need y'all to mute y'all mic, or I'm gonna start muting mics. I'm muting mics now. If you're not speaking, I'm gonna mute your mic. So the Vatican, they're trying to be possessed by the archangels or God. That's what they're trying to do. They never explain that. So possession is, I'm not saying that it's bad or good, but let's just say there's a cosmic intelligence outside of the magnetosphere, the dome, the firmament, that the Vatican knows about. And you see how this beam of light looks like the tractor beam of a UFO? That's what they're trying to access. They're trying to allow for something of a cosmic intelligence, aliens, to possess their body so that their DNA can now be a part of these lineages of lattices beyond human existence. That's what they're trying to do. So they teach you your whole life that possession is demonic, whereas the Pope and all of these other people behind doors and shit, they're trying to get possessed by something called divine possession. And you can study this. You can look up divine possession. It's very much known in the church. And that's what they're trying to achieve. But little do they know, a lot of these divine possessions are the archons. Little do they know.
Would that be the same as people who speak in tongues when they go into prayer?
Absolutely. That's divine possession.
Okay.
Archons.
Okay.
Take it over the body. Mm-hmm.
And with the tulpas, when you said that they put it into meat, the first thing that kind of came to mind was the genetic manipulation of our food supply, and how lately there was the uptick of, say, the food processing plants getting burnt down. And with this would come control, meaning they would be able to, in a sense, do that to, well, a nation. And my mind kind of went there with it. So that's just where I'm at right now.
Okay. That's possible. I mean, I wouldn't put nothing past these people. I'm not going to say that's what's going on or that's not what's going on. Very possible. Very, very possible. It makes sense to me. But it's still a theory. So I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. I know they're doing something diabolical. I can tell you that. I don't know if they're putting archons in the food, putting virile worms, or if they just putting some chemicals that mess us up, so to speak. You have any more questions? And move on to the next person, or you can think for a minute.
You were talking about like the sulfics and like the Sufis. Sufis. Okay, that was the word. And the book you said was Man of Light. Let me flip this again. And the form of meditation that they did was basically, I'm gonna use like my terminology because I feel like I'm gonna like say it wrong, is the serpent, like you would say in Indian, goes up the spine to the top of the head and then to the crown. And the goal for that would be kind of the black light, or embracing the black light, so to speak, in a way, to where you can see the wave of color through it. Was that kind of where it was going, I think?
The black light is an emanation from the soul. The soul gives off the black light. We're trying to fill our body with the black light. Matter of fact, yeah, the soul gives it off. It's a primordial substance that the soul gives off. They call it a primal material. But we did a breakdown of how you're supposed to sit and imagine every letter you pronounce has a color vibration to it. And there are certain color vibrations, like the letter P. There's a dark gray, like a black gray, that you're supposed to imagine at the soles of your feet. You're supposed to imagine your body lighting up with this color right here. And that begins to activate the dormant states of your metaconscious of the soul, which causes the Kundalini to feel this thing called aesthesis. Aesthesis is a spiritual feeling that has a vibratory, it feels vibratory in the body. It's kind of like when you ever seen a movie, a demon movie, and they have the stigmatas of Jesus in it. You know what a stigmata is?
Yes, the holes on the hands.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
This is not literal. There is never a time where somebody literally gets holes in their hands. That doesn't happen. I'm taking the literal aspect of it, and I'm taking you into the esoteric. You can feel holes in your hands, this vibratory effect in your hands, which I felt before in a deep meditation. Also, I had a psychedelic plant to help me. And these holes are portals called chouds or points, hot points. That's the next part of the lesson. I don't know if I can get into that today. I might have to save that for Patreon. But they're called hot points. They get hot in the body. And literally, these are gates opening up in the soul. And I literally heard a voice in my mind emanating from my hands where these hot points were. So they're gateways. They're literally gateways into universe B. Some people be like, oh, that's demons that you're hearing. You know, demons or something. But that's people that have a neophyte understanding into being initiated into metaphysics. The demons and the angel whole thing is not as great of a percentage of what you think metaphysics is about. It's literally probably 3% understanding demons and angels, because daemons and archons are bigger, vaster conscious intelligence than an angel or a demon. The angels and demons are nothing but egregors. That's a group of people put up in the conscious spheres of the world. So a collective group of people created the demon Mammon. They sat in meditation for 30 hours into this Mammon. They all focused, they all agreed that we're going to focus our thoughts on creating this Mammon deity. And then long after they died, this conscious thread became what's called autonomous. It didn't need them to draw him up and bring him out of thought. It just existed by itself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So those are demons, quote unquote. Those are the demons, but these things are lesser than the greater mysteries of what's going on with what I'm describing. But go ahead.
Okay. And the other thing, now I lost it, because you were talking about, like, not the tulpas, but essentially the creation of an entity or thing, if you will, being, light being, energy being, and how they create them. Could we ourselves, in our own aspect, do something similar, say, in a light sense, to where you can protect things in a way? Because, like you said, we're the ones who win, not them. It's their apocalypse and not ours, in a way, paraphrasing, if you will. And it's basically saying that in ourselves activating these, we can do something greater than that.
Absolutely.
In a way. Okay.
Matter of fact, it's our apocalypse, because we're going to apocalypse they ass. They think they about to apocalypse us. We're going to apocalypse them. See, they can't see. In the Greek text, Zeus cannot seize who's going to kill him. It's one of his demigod sons. He thinks that humans are insignificant and he can't be harmed by humans. But Prometheus knew. Prometheus had the ability to see the future, but it's esoteric. These juggernaut cryptocratic governments cannot see that we will be the end of them. People like us. You see what I'm saying? We will be the end of them. And what you're talking about, yes, I just showed you that. You have to study the cathartic grid to do that.
How do you spell that?
Kathara. I think it was a white woman who discovered this thing. What is her name? Ashihana. If anything, she brought attention to it if she didn't discover it. There she go. Her name is Ashihana Dean. This woman right here. Now, some things that she talks about, I'd be like, okay, you going into that reptilian stuff. So you don't have to worry about all of that. But everything, even what I say, take some things I say, apply it. You don't have to take the whole thing, because I have my own mental kingdom where I go to. You ain't going to my mental kingdom. You better go to your own mental kingdom.
Yeah.
But she has a lot of lectures on this cathartic grid. I don't know if she created it. She says it comes from the Templars or Templarism. She calls it Templarism, whereas we've been tricked into following false ascension science. So I looked into it and I figured out some quantum physics with it that makes sense. And it's called the Cathartic grid. It makes a lot of sense. So whether she is authentic, I don't know. But I'm advanced enough in occultism not to attach myself to a person. I'm more trying to become the self-master. So I applied this to the system and it works. The mathematics is correct. It works. So maybe you can study her and that'll help you out.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for the questions, because that helps a lot of people in the audience. Let me go to the next person. Who's next? Jared, are you next?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's going on, Jared?
Hey, what's up, man? Been watching your show for a little while. Kind of been gone for a little while, incarcerated. I know it might be a little TMI, but I had a lot of coincidences happen in my life, and I'm just wondering if possibly that they could be coming from a higher self within myself, from somewhere else, possibly within a realm of past or future. I'm not exactly sure, because me myself, I didn't give me my name in my birthday. I'm just born into it. So as far as any kind of symbolism that I've seen in any kind of messages that lead me into interests, I'm interested in a lot of things reverting to myself, like my birthday and names and letters and a lot of those type of things. And I've been doing that for a while. I guess my question is, do you think there's a part of us that's sitting on a higher dimension that is giving us messages if we're receptible to it, and why we would be receptible to it?
There's something in the Kabbalah called the Yakita.
Okay.
What all of these alien cult boys keep talking about with the UFO or the UAP. It's not literal. It's a spiritual ship, but it's a part of the soul. It's the highest part of the soul that never comes down here into physical matter. It's called the HGA in the occult text, the Holy Guardian Angel.
Oh.
And wherever you go in the world, this thing is in the sky following you. And that's what you're saying. In it, inside of it is a collective. It's a collectivity of egregores of past ancestral data that your bloodline has tapped into, going way back into the first hominids.
Oh yeah, that's interesting because I did watch a little bit of one of your show where you were saying something about Jesus, and it just resonated with me because I'm Ojibwe myself. And you said it
You
was
know, Ojibwe, yeah, that's they came up. They're one of the first people that put the word Jesus out here. So sometimes these words are more ancient, and then these Vatican groups, Council of Nicaea's, Gutenberg press people can hijack a word and direct and facilitate that energy somewhere. So absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's pretty informative. If I could, I'd just like to share one coincidence or whatever it may be.
We got a lot. We got a lot of. How about you email me?
Okay.
Are you on my Patreon?
No, I believe not. Probably not. Like just.
Well, just email me, man. If you need to get on Patreon, I'm gonna tell you that you need to get on Patreon.
Yeah.
But email me. We can get on the phone. We can chop it up. I got time. And we can chop it up. And I hear that. Let me get to the.
Definitely, I appreciate it.
No problem, Jared. Get to the other questions.
Yep.
Okay. Who's next? Okay, I think we got everybody up in there. Okay. Does anybody else have questions up in here?
Oh, peace, God. Just want to better love to the family out there. Just want to say that, you know, of course, again, you got another masterpiece, and you really tied together what the black light energy is in our, in our spiritual being self. And one of my questions though is we were talking about the RPG Ultra. And, because I'm kind of older than a lot of you guys, I experienced the black light posters. So, I mean, I can go into a little history of that, but I'm gonna just, resign and let you answer that question, or what do you think about it? And then I can, kind of expound on that a little bit.
Talking about the RPG Ultra?
Yes.
Yeah, basically what it is, the government has this RPG Ultra program out here, whereas the video games, the color pixels, what you're observing in the stream over time, it opens you up to hypersuggestibility. And I was describing how Lucifer, from a metaphysical sense, he's the aspect or the physics of the mind that opens your mind up to hypersuggestibility, hypnotism, mesmerism. But you can be hypnotized by your higher self. You can be in meditation, and the higher self can give you information. Just like in hypnotism, somebody else can be feeding you information and you react to it. So it's not necessarily always a bad thing we're talking about. We're talking something of physics. Now, there is a negative aspect, whereas the Lucifer technologies with the video games, where these kids be killing so much, whether it's Call of Duty, whether it's this Warlock games. I forgot the name of the video games. I don't even play video. I used to play a lot of video games back then, but any video game you playing, you killing so much. And when you kill so much, what happens is the hypersuggestibility opens the subconscious mind up, and you have a disregard of life. That's when a actual demon, a Egregor, has moved into the mind. And most of the mass shootings across the country are RPGers, people who play these type of video games.
Right. That's exactly where I was kind of going with this, because as a flower child, or I experienced back in the early 60s and the 70s, we used to have something that we call black light posters. Now, black light was supposedly invented by this guy, I don't know his name, Robert Wood or something like that. But we know that as a part of Kemet in the art world, they use fluorescence. So what he did was invent a lamp that could, make they called it a black light lamp. And what they did was on the black light posters, the fluorescence in the poster would glow in the dark. So, and then you put your black light on and you sit down and you kind of meditate or do your psychedelics and things of that nature. So it was something that was created for pop culture. And back in, they used to put a lot of pop icons such as Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin and put all these, freaky colors on it and stuff like that. And you would sit down and meditate, smoke your weed, do your hash, whatever you're going to do, right? So the issue becomes, from metaphysics in occult standpoint, is that what happened was that a lot of people, when they were doing this, they, like you said, they was opening themselves up to archons and entities that they didn't really understand. A lot of people was ODing, doing the psychedelics and things of that nature, but they had to stop it because of the fact that, and I was going into that Egyptian and Kemet thing, was because they were the first inventors of fluorescence with the Egyptian blue, and also and from a Kemet culture, a black light was really, when you're talking about your inner self, or your the Sirius B, which is now they described in NASA as sort of like a light that is so bright that it's actually black. So with that being said, it's a black star. So therefore, Sirius B being the brightest star, and they have another star that's next to it called a white dwarf. But the issue becomes whether or not these black light posters, they were invented by a company called Houston Black Light Postering Company in Houston, out of Houston. Right. But what was happening, they had to stop this because the issue become a lot of people with melanin, they were actually getting in contact with their inner self or their ancestors, or their melanin was being activated. And so that's how you started getting the, like the awakening of the culture of really metaphysics growing, and, teachings of, Kemet history and things of that nature that spawned up, in the 80s and 90s. But in reality, if you study the Testament of Solomon, which is, I don't know who the author of that book is, but even in the Bible, you go to Solomon had control over his daemons, and the Jewish mysticism behind that was basically that he had a ring of
a signet ring,
control his daemons, which in this sense of metaphysically, I'm saying that it's your melanin, on the higher level, and not an archon, because on the highest level of controlling your melanin or the entities inside of you, which was Solomon's temple and all that, which is basically based off of the Jerusalem temples and things of that nature. So all I'm saying is that there is a correlation.
You hear me?
But they twisted it.
Okay, you back down.
Right. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you for letting me say that. And of course, again, Ani, man, you be hitting all the points that need to be hit. And thanks again. Better love.
Better love, brother. That's our elder right there. So when the elder is speaking, you be quiet and you listen. That's the elder of our community. I see Miss Sharice in there. She's the feminine elder of the community. So we got both of them in there. Love Miss Sharice. Love her to death, and I love Steve to death. They always fill me with wisdom, and that's a significant energy that I have in my life right now. So shout out to you, Steve, and shout out to you, Miss Sharice. We're about to get ready to wrap this up, family. I got to get on the road. I got to get to work. I even went over time to hold questions. And I guess part 2 of this will be on Patreon this week. We're going to have Sophia Stewart come on possibly Friday or this weekend. So look forward to that. Sophia don't play no games too. The creator and owner of the Matrix. Look her up right now if you never heard of her. A lot of people are trying to disprove that she didn't own the Matrix. We're going to nip all of that in the bud come this weekend. And just my infomercial of the day. Please donate. Please donate, whether it's $5. There's a PayPal link. One of my moderators can put it in there right now, or once the video is done, you can click the tab. And the tab has my information. Donate $5, whatever you can. Much needed to keep this thing going. The more donations I get, the more I can relax and not overdo. Ooh, even my phone telling me to end this video. But the more I have to do more to generate income. So if you help out $5 from a couple of people, that can help me to do more. But if you're not on Patreon, you don't probably know that I'm now the owner of Ankh Life Store here in Colombia. I have now taken ownership over this store in Colombia. We're a holistic herbal shop where we sell crystals, incense, a whole bunch of products, books, all types of stuff to help out with the community. Not only that, we're about forming a community here, and we're about to have a spiritual retreat. I got some pictures of some of our products that we have right here. Some of our herbal products. And I want you guys to go to AnkLifeStore.com. And if you buy something, put in the promo code ANIOSARU, and I'll give you, I think, half off anything you buy right now. This is our cat in the store. Simba is the funniest cat. This cat is so funny, man. Is always running up to people, jumping in their arms. This is the most spiritual cat I ever came across. It's like some Egyptian reincarnated cat or something like that. But her his name is Simba. It's not a hers. His name is Simba, and Simba loves people. Some copper bracelets we have. So we're doing our thing right now. We're moving into, metaphysical stores and ownership. And that's great. We're making customers happy. This is a woman that came in there and she spent a significant amount of money just because she was feeling the energy. I was doing like a semi lecture telling people about spirituality. And she's from Queens, New York. She spent a significant amount of money in the shop, which helps me and my partner very much. And this was a king and his goddess. This guy right here, I figured out later that he's a millionaire. He owns like 2 lots here in Colombia. I didn't even know that, but I saw him pull out a wad of money. I said, okay, I see you, player. You got a lot of money over there. But I sold like 4 dashikis to them. They were very interested in the dashikis, which we sell there. We sell a lot of spiritual clothing in the store. So support Ankh Life Store. Make a donation to PayPal. Come on the Patreon right now. We got a lot going on. I will be posting the spiritual retreat real soon. This weekend is going to be a blast. Look forward to connecting with you guys. I'm going to say Arimpoya, Oshulu, Ashe to the ancestors. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back real soon. Peace.
Better love to the gods and goddesses.